Good morning. Good morning. What's up, folks? Let me get things connected up over on the Discord side of things. How's everybody doing this morning? Good morning. Hope you all are doing well. Let me get this chat opened over here. Let me get my screen sharing going. There we go. All right, cool. Let's dig into it. How's everybody doing this morning? Hope you all are doing well. Let me just get one other thing situated so I got all my screens where I like them. Get this set up right there. Okay, and let's take a look. We should have some jobless numbers coming out. We also did have that revision on the jobs numbers yesterday. Came out, what was it, 818,000 job revision. So kind of a very weird scenario, I'd say. I don't see that happen a lot, especially not to that degree. So it'll be interesting to get some kind of insight or explanation as to how those numbers wound up being so far off. I think people, or most, would tend to say, oh, this was done on purpose for some reason, or for some nefarious reason, whatever the case might be. That could be the case. I have a hard time focusing on being a proactive and positive, positively minded trader. If I'm constantly walking around with the concept that the market is rigged and going to work against me at all times. Hey.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, cool. Thank you. Okay, got it. So sorry about that. We had this supply area tested over here overhead, and we're kind of running into that a little bit here this morning. So what we've got going on in the markets, it's been kind of flat, weird price action. Oh, sorry, I was actually looking at the jobless numbers. I just had somebody come in and drop some tickets on my desk for me. Let's see. So jobless claims came in 232 actual versus a consensus of 230. Previous reading was 228,000. Slightly higher than the consensus, slightly higher than the previous. We're definitely in I would say a period where the market is looking for good news is good news, essentially, and so we want to see good data. I think at this point we want to see jobless numbers coming in low. We want to see new jobs added coming in higher than expected. So it's going to be interesting to see how this affects some of the talking points that the Fed's going to be making throughout the week this week. Also, just a reminder, in case anybody forgot, I don't think anybody's forgotten, but Jackson Hole is still going on, so you never know when a potential catalyst, I would say, is going to come out of any of the talking points coming out of Jackson Hole. The big thing to be aware of, though, tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the morning, is when Jerome Powell's going to be on. That could be a big mover, depending on what he says. And probably is a lot of the reason why we're seeing just very kind of flat, low volume trading right now. I think everybody's kind of holding off on doing too much heavy buying or selling until we get some more insights and guidance from Jay Powell. So we'll see how this all plays out. Just don't forget, again, we're a little bit low volume at the moment. There's those catalysts floating around out there in the ether. So, keep your heads on a swivel, especially tomorrow going into that 10 a.m. Speech from Jerome Powell. All right, so let's get into some trade plan recaps, and then we'll do some new trade plans live here on the stream. Let's take a look at the chats. Unknown Reviews, what's up? Good morning. How are you, brother? What's up, Pradeep? What's up, Strife? Good to see you all. I've got requests for Intuit, Upstart, Carvana, and nothing from folks in the Discord, but good morning to you guys as well. All right, let's get to these trade plan recaps. Let's take a look at how things are shaking out and shaping up. We've got our member selected trade plans that we did over the weekend, and I posted pre-market Monday morning. We already talked about NVIDIA once, but gave us a nice back test opportunity to reload here after hitting some price targets there Tuesday. Came back, dipped a little bit below the call entry, but ultimately gave us a clean back test. Has continued to push up, retesting PT1, very close to a touch of PT2 here pre-market, but not quite there, at least not that I would give myself credit for calling that a hit. But 131.06, let's see, that was the high of that was 130.85, so yeah, just not quite there yet. But looks like it's still overall maintaining a very bullish trend. Flipping things here on Neptune, fully bullish. Would definitely be interested to possibly add to a position at 129.03. So keep an eye on that for a test down there, support. See if we start to get some buyers stepping in and buying it back up off that level. If you see that start to take place, could be a good spot to try to take an entry there. I'd use PT2 as your price target. And I'd use this 127.65 as your stop loss average down. Below that, we've lost the 200 SMA there on the 15-minute, which would be not a great look if I'm holding a bullish position, in my opinion. AMD, this one I think we pretty much nailed as best as we could, right? So we did this one over the weekend. Monday gave us the confirmed break, right? We continued to push higher there pre-market, and then shortly after market opened, we had the test of PT3. It actually gave us a little bit of a liquidity print slightly higher overhead, but ultimately candles couldn't close above that, so really solid resistance there that we called. Even gave a heads up to some folks. They were like, hey, are you still going to hold through beyond PT3? And I was like, no, this is my ultimate target, right? And so I stick to my plans, as I always say here on these live streams. Plan your trades, trade your plans. So I trade my plans, and I think it just helps keep me disciplined and keeps me from second guessing myself or constantly looking back and saying, well, did I leave money on the table, blah blah blah. It's the plan worked, I hit all my targets, on to the next plan, or maybe look for an opportunity to re-enter on the existing plan. AMD hasn't given us a retest of the call entry yet. However, interesting little confluence down here. They're at 155.97. That would be an interesting spot. Actually, anywhere in that 156.91 to 155.97 range would be an interesting spot to potentially go back in on some longs. I haven't re-entered anything on AMD yet personally, but yeah, nice play out overnight from a good entry all the way up to PT3. Quick returns on this AMD contract. So congrats if you guys followed that plan. Nike, really kind of a total nothing burger. Again, really low volume across the market. That is seems to be having a particularly dulling effect on the price action of Nike. Everything just kind of in a very tight, boring range. So that's why we have entry levels that we wait for, so we're not sitting in options contracts that are just sitting there getting theta burned to death. So again, really nothing to see here still on Nike. It's long story short. Tesla, we did this one Tuesday pre-market. Tesla did give us a breakdown below. Let's zoom in on this, right? Breakdown below, back test as resistance of the put entry, and then straight down to PT1 where it found support. How close were we to low of the day on that one? Let's see. Low 219.56. Low of this candle 219.59. I mean, yeah, we were within 3 cents of the low of the day with that first price target for puts. So again, that's key support. Sometimes PT1's all we get. Also 333 SMA right there on the 5-minute. It looked like we might have been breaking below it, but not really a great confirmed break. That candle kind of closed right on support and broke right back above the 333 in no time. So a little bit of a dip below, but I wouldn't really call that a great confirmed break. Tesla did give us a back test entry to go back in on shorts, and you could have held those into another test of PT1 there yesterday and this morning, back in the range. So keep an eye on this one, especially if it breaks back down below 223.13 again. That would be a little bit interesting with where these SMAs are sitting. Let's take a look at the 15-minute real quick. there could be some problems there actually now at this point. Things are kind of catching up as far as these SMAs going to be able to add some support and things flipping back bullish on Neptune. So be a little bit cautious overdoing and retrading this one on the downside right now is what I'd say. If you do take a shot at it, I'd say keep it smaller. Maybe trade only profits that you took from these prior entry opportunities. QQQ, this one has gave us, I looked at this one. I personally didn't take it. It does look, or did look like it could have been a convincing break as I was watching it, but I'm kind of glad I held off. This one printed, whoops, sorry, didn't mean to move that. This one just, and this is kind of a good talking point. Actually, I'm going to hide this for a second, right? This is why we kind of want to look for some continuation or see some kind of clear evidence that this support is going to hold. This resistance, I should say, is going to hold a support now that we've closed this candle above. You can see this actually is a lower high slightly, or pretty much a double top, even if you want to think about it that way. It's, very, very minor difference between the two. But not really getting that break above and continuation. And again, really preferably we're getting back tests and then entries from there, right? So, this one looked pretty good. I was watching it, but did not personally take it. If you did, I totally would have understood. Maybe it would have been a little bit of like a trigger happy entry, like, wait a little bit more, maybe wait for this candle to close and see if it does actually get bought up and show signs of support. But ultimately looks like a little bit of a liquidity sweep to the upside before dipping things down. But breaking over, seeing some back tests here pre-market. So if 483.49 holds going into the open, could try a small near the open entry. Just remember, everything's low volume right now, and lots of anticipation of what Jay Powell's going to say tomorrow during his speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium. So again, just trade light, trade cautious, be nimble. It's the best advice I can give you. And then Toll Brothers, this one was for unknown reviews, Catalyst play. This again, I hope hope these plans are working out or being effective for you. We hadn't really had a confirmed break of anything going into earnings reports. The only thing I could say that might have been a little bit of a, what am I looking for? A little bit of a heads up on which direction this might go. Neptune here on the 15-minute held nicely bullish. Dips getting bought up out of that buy zone there. And ultimately never broke below that key support there at 132.17. So maybe you go into earnings assuming that this holds and that this is going to be bullish. Turns out that it was. And actually, though, this would have been tradable, right? Possibly, although it would have been a tough entry. Oh, no. I mean, you could have actually caught this one, I would say. So earnings reported, and you could have played it after the IV crush and everything. So I'd be curious to know how you handled this one, unknown. But yeah, here we see here pre-market yesterday, or right after the open yesterday, gives us our break above, pretty close to a back test right off our call entry, and then up to PT1 plus, back testing PT1 as support, and continuing to hold that PT1 as support. So could possibly try to push higher here on Toll going into the day today. All right, so that does it for our trade plan recaps. Let's get into some new trade plans this morning. We've got Into from Unknown Review, so let's start with that. Earnings after hours today. Looks like it's in the range of an old trade plan I did. I don't know how long ago. Into it's not one I trade often. Also interesting that we have a gap level that's essentially, this also looks like it doesn't really have any real activity on it during the extended hours trading sessions. This gap It's an interesting gap level right here. Let me hide these indicators real quick. I just want to see price action for a sec. Nice, good stuff. Yeah, it was kind of interesting to see like the real move didn't, even though the earnings was pre-market, the real move didn't seem to kick off until after market open on that one. So that's a interesting opportunity to play that plan, knowing what the earnings report looked like. I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right, it's an old level. Not sure. Sure, whatever gap was there is filled. There is a gap here that it's not filled. So we'll want to keep that on watch. Yeah, interesting little concentration of support and resistance in that range. Bearish on into it. Okay, well, let's see what it looks like. Maybe we can give you some insights that might guide you one way or the other. All right, let me just zoom out on this for a sec. It's indicating, so we'll just fix that quick. All right, this almost looks like I mean, there are some weekly levels, but I guess the last time I looked at this was probably a while ago. I wonder if I don't like this little crazy concentration levels. Some of this I'm going to start over on, but I do have that gap there that I don't want to lose sight of. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Pretty clear and solid resistance. Where 672.70. Yeah, I mean this needs to break. This thing's a freaking iron ceiling. With looking at how many attempts there have been to break over that level, not a lot of price action above either, so that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll figure that out pretty quick. Let's see. So if we get that break, where are we at? This is 13 December 21. Let's see if they'll let us go back that far. It will. Okay. All right. So I think there is room up to that 684.30 at the very least to the upside. Let's check this level out here. Thinking about 662.76 is a stop loss. Why am I doing that the slow way? Yeah, yep. Pretty close, right at a 1-to-1 risk reward there, so be mindful and cautious about that. All right, so let's take a look at how we're going to figure out what we want to do. Yeah, that would actually close this. There is still a gap here too, overhead. 681.62, but I don't think that's going to be in the way too much. There is a gap to fill up to here at 692.06. Bottom of the gap's somewhere around there. We'll take a closer look at that at some point, but 692.06 going to be a very interesting level to watch. Over that, can I go back that far on the hourly? Can. Sweet. Yeah, I like where that's at. Actually, this is a little bit higher, but I would not. Yeah, I'd still shoot for that as a target just to be safe. Lots of essentially price discovery up in this range. Let's do this. Let's run this fib retracement, see if this gives any additional guidance. So I've got this 703.30 level pretty close to that. Maybe it's more like 703.01. All right, I'm going to say take a stab at this. I could be way off on even trying that. That's just kind of what the chart looks like to me. All right, downside definitely gets interesting. Yeah, back below this 650, 604 level. Actually, you know what? So, never done this before, so how am I going to mark this off? What I'm thinking is actually making this 662.76 also the downside entry. We'll make this stop loss average down for this downside entry. That gives us the first target here. At 650, 604. Next target, gap entry. Last target, gap fill. So pay close attention to this one. It's not going to look the same as one of my typical plans. So just be mindful of that. So this is going to set up like that. So the one thing that's going to look a little bit off is the put entry isn't going to be a solid line. So just, again, be aware of that. Here, I'll do this also for the screenshot that I'm going to share with it. Just so it's helpful or clear. Okay, there we go. So here is your into live stream plans. Just over here in the watch list as well. All right, so what are we looking for here on Intuit? Oh, also, before I get too far ahead of myself, would be good to know. All right, so London reviews, you're bearish on this going into the earnings report. I'd say if it goes into that earnings report below 673.99, you're probably right. Looks bullish on the hourly, 4-hour. We're running right up into the key selling pressure. This is actually going to be on a daily. I don't know, really. I mean, that 4-hour chart, you are right in it. But oh yeah, over 670. What do we say? 673.99, right? Yeah, over that. Looks like it could go. Probably at least a test PG3, if not all-time high. Or I would say at least a gap fill, probably all-time high test. Okay, so let's talk through this real quick. What are we looking for here on Intuit? We're looking for a break over 673.99. That should give us targets at 684.30, 692.06, and 703.01, with a stop loss average down at 662.76. For the downside, we're looking for a break below that same level at 662.76. So trade plans don't often set up like this, but just how it looks to me. That should give us targets at 656.04, 644.22, and 638.05, with a stop loss average down at 668.61. Those are your Intuit trade plans. Go get them. All right, let me get back over to the chat for the live stream here. And let's take a look at what do we have next. Upstart for Pradeep. What's up, Pradeep? What's up, Brian? Good to see you. Let's hope. Fingers crossed for you, buddy. All right, so Upstart. Upstart's been on a nice move since their earnings report. This one does have pretty good extended hours action. Running up into some old trade plan levels. That's a former put entry. They're at 42.49. Let's clean this up real quick. Oh, it's like, how did I miss all those other levels? Need to organize these levels a little better over here, but that's okay. That's my issue for another time. Okay, so right up against this hourly level there at 40.87 pre-market. I know it's kind of hard to see, but because the price action's there, but I've got a level right here that it's testing, rejected recently, like clean rejection right there. It's testing it again here pre-market. Let's get a sense of how the price action played out the last couple of times. Upstart was in this range. Lots of bigger moves. Wow. Huge move there. I think that's going to be it for price action up in this range. Definitely riding what looks like a pretty solid trend line here too. Could be. Let's check this out. Yeah, it's in a bit of a channel, I would say. Strong upward channel, but it's a channel. All right. So this 42.49 we had as a put entry previously, so I'm just trying to, well, 42.49 gets us over that. All right, here's what I'm looking at. Let's be decisive. I think this was appropriate there. It's the stop loss average down, actually. I just kind of coincidence that I happened to make it thicker line so I could spot it easier. And it does kind of, that's a little bit higher than that 46.91 level I've got. I think that is the better level. Could be that this level was established since the last time I took a good look at Upstart, would be my guess. And then on to 49.36 from there. Recent top. If it breaks over 49.36, it's going to 52.45. Could be another big move over that. So maybe try to hold like a free runner, see if it can break through PT3 for calls. Then against interesting. Downside, share an entry with the, I'm sorry, share a stop loss with the call side. Entry there at 39.27. Potential stairs down move to 35.52 if that does break. Watch out for this channel though. Be mindful of that. Below that, yeah, I think 32.59. And below that, I think potentially as low as 29.37. All right, so that one kind of really stuck out to me as I started looking at this chart. I like it when they're easy to spot, these trade plans. All right, so let's take a look at this on the hourly. Just make sure there's nothing else that changes my mind all that much. So, oops, copy link. Here is your Upstart trade plans. Puts those over here and also in the watch list. So what are we looking for here on Upstart? We're looking for a break over 42.49. That should give us targets at 44.89, 47.49, and 49.36 with a stop loss average down at 40.87. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 39.27. That should give us targets at 35.52, 32.59, and 29.37. Sharing a stop loss average down with the upside trade plan there at 40.87. Those are your Upstart trade plans. All right, let's see what we've got going on in the chats. Anybody? Let's see. All right, so then we've got Carvana. Also for Pradeep. You guys, if you have other trade or ticker requests, trade plan requests, drop them in the chat and drop them quick because we're running out of time. And I don't know what you want me to look at if you don't tell me. Let's, again, clean up the chart real quick. Okay, cool. All those are already set for that. That's the ones I just did. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Yeah. All right. So what are we looking for? Here on Carvana, it's up against this weekly resistance, rejecting that pretty cleanly here pre-market. Yeah, it looks like a pretty key level to break. For sure. Yeah. this. So keep an eye on this, preferably, don't rush in. Preferably we get a break and a back test, all the things I like to see, so we don't get caught chasing or getting in too early before the move's confirmed. I'm really interested to see if it doesn't go up to that 177.76. I think it could. This could be a big move over that 158.05. And I was looking at it on some of that prior price action. I like that stop loss right there at 143.94. So then over 177.76, this is a really interesting flip of support and resistance on the way down. It's a level I don't have currently. I'll be shocked if there's not one here. We go back and see. I would be very surprised if we don't get some more clean bounces and rejections off that. Yeah, built it up as support right there, kind of got stuck as resistance, broke over support, pushed higher. Yeah, I think we've got a level there that's tradable, that's actionable for our trade plan. And then over 195.48, take a shot at 210.22. All right, that's upside sorted, downside. Kind of eyeballing this 123.12. Seems like that's forever and a day away, but there's lots of support opportunities. There's potentially an entry here around 135.85. I can get some confirmation reinforcement on that. It's a little bit lower, and at that point you're right up against that weekly level. So I'd say just wait for this weekly level to break. Actually, we can maybe get a little bit of an earlier entry on this. Inside this range, it could be a little bit choppy. I want to make that a dotted line. So below 132.08. Yeah, I was looking at this level, that historical price action. It's a little bit shy of that weekly. I've seen a few kind of interesting reactions off of this. What is that, 117.12 level? Below that, could be a little bit lower. There's some cleaner tests a little bit lower, but there's something near this 108.74. Again, it could be slightly below this on PT2, but I don't mind being slightly conservative at that point in the trade, taking some more profit there. Greed kills accounts. It's not profit until it's booked. So here's what. And Carvana is looking super bullish so far. So, not surprised our downside's a little bit shorter and concentrated with targets. That seems appropriate to me. All right, so here is the Carvana trade plans. All right. So what are we? No earnings soon. Well, not too far away, but not like not tomorrow. So what are we looking for here on Carvana? We are looking for a break over 158.05. Whoops, sorry. Get my screen set up here. Looking for a break over 158.05. That should give us targets at 177.76, 195.48, and 210.22. Stop loss average down at 143.94. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 132.08. That should give us targets at 117.12, 111.49, and 99.30. Sharing a stop loss average down there at 143.94 with the upside trade plan. That's Carvana for you. Go after it. All right, so let's see. We had one Roblox because it was strong yesterday from Shades over in the Discord. Take a quick look at it. This one, has historically traded much higher. My concern, though, is after a big move like that yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if this needs a day or two to consolidate and cool off a little bit. Here's what I will say. With it looking I'm thinking maybe I haven't done one of these in a while. What I'm thinking is buy the dip plan. So what I personally want to see is a pullback to 42.02, somewhere near that. I'd keep a tight stop loss on it at 41.56. First target would be 42.80. This is interesting, like resistance topping out just a little bit higher than that 43.24 level I've got. Just don't see much else other than that. Yeah, maybe there is something there. That blue line's also a little bit more of a placeholder, which means I thought there was something near that level, and maybe this is what it actually is. So I'll take a further look at this. I'm going to mark this off in another slightly different color than what I would normally use, so I can keep an eye on it and go back and take a look at this. Over that, now this, again, requires a pullback to 42, right? So it may be that this never happens or doesn't happen anytime soon, but after a big move like that, I wouldn't be surprised to see some consolidation and a pullback of some kind, take out anybody that got caught chasing. If that happens, I say try to buy the dip off of 42.02. Be a pretty hard dip at that point, which is why we're keeping a tight stop loss on it. You could also look to potentially go long and for continuation over 43.48. play up to 44.47 as a target and use 42.80 as a stop loss, so kind of re-engineer these levels a little bit. But what I personally would wait for, and with the mindset of letting trades come to me versus trying to chase them, would be like this. So this is going to be our roadblocks. Whoops, roadblocks by the dip plan. All right, so yeah, what we'd be looking for here is a pullback to 42.02 to go long on roadblocks with a stop loss at 41.56, and then targets at 42.80, 43.48, and 44.47. That's how I would take a shot at trying to catch this roadblocks momentum without getting caught chasing. So I hope these plans are helpful and effective for you guys. Let's go out there and knock them dead to close out the week. Again, remember, we've got some pretty interesting catalysts coming up. I thought I saw somebody mention there was a manufacturing reading this morning. I must have missed that or just read past it. Flash manufacturing and PMI at 9:45. So, typically we're not, I'm not recommending getting into trades in the first 15 minutes anyway. But keep that in mind for those of you who might be looking for a near the open entry. Also, remember, we've got Jerome Powell talking tomorrow at, let me just refresh, was it 10 o'clock, I think? Yeah, 10 o'clock from Jackson Hole. So it will be very, very interesting to see what that does to the markets. But with that, we are getting close to market open here on Thursday, August 22nd. So I've got to go get this daily SPY plan together for our folks in the Xtrades Discord. If you haven't given us a look, come check us out. We've got free trials, links all over our YouTube page. Should be easy to find us. Make sure you tell them JTW sent you. And with that, I want to recommend that you guys do what we always recommend here on these FOMO live streams, and that is plan your trades and trade your plans. Go out there and get some green, secure those profits. Have a fantastic day. We will be back next Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. every Tuesday and Thursday, as long as the markets are open and I'm upright and breathing. We'll be doing these live streams. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I appreciate you all for being here. I can't thank you enough for taking the time and sharing your mornings with me. Again, plan your trades, trade your plans. Go out there, have a great day. Talk to you all soon. Take care.